Please help others find these tutorials. Give the video a like, leave one comment on this video, and click the subscribe button to subscribe to this channel. With your help, more people can find these tutorials. Gracias. Before we start, this video mainly discusses the letters and their official or standard pronunciations according to the Grammatica Essenziale Neolatina, or Essential Neolatin Grammar. Another video will discuss different pronunciations and spellings in more detail. A, la acqua, the water. B, la bocca, the mouth. The standard pronunciation as specified by the grammar guide is che, which is like the ch in the English word lunch. An optional way, not officially mentioned in the grammar guide, to pronounce this letter is se, which is how many Romance languages pronounce this letter, such as Spanish, French, and Portuguese. When the letter C is in front of the vowels A, U, or O, it would be pronounced as ka, ku, and ko, respectively. When the letter C is in front of the vowel I or E, it would be pronounced as chi and che. In order to write ki and ke, you must write with a ch, but more on this in exceptions later. The example here could be read as lo cielo, the standard pronunciation, or lo cielo, the optional pronunciation. This word means the sky. De, los dientes, the teeth. E, lo elefante, the elephant. It's important to note here that there are two pronunciations for the letter E, depending on the accent mark or diacritic. The letter E without an accent mark or with the acute accent mark sounds more like a closed E, e. This sound is heard in the English word gain, e. If you've ever listened to the Spanish language spoken, this is the only sound that they have for the letter E, such as in bueno, bueno. The letter E with the grave accent mark is pronounced like the letter E in the English word mes. This is also the sound you may use when you show a lack of enthusiasm. In some letters, Neolatin has a regularized option. The natural option is the form based on real Romance languages. Here we have the natural option, F, and the regular option, fe. La flore, the flower. Ge or ge. Lo garage, the garage. In Neolatin, when the letter G is before the vowel I or E, it would be pronounced as G and J. So we have ga, G, gu, je, go. In order to write gi and ge, you must write with a GH. As is typical of Romance languages, the letter H is silent. So we say akka, akka. Lo uomine, the man. I, la isola, the island. This letter can be called by one of two options. I longa, the form that resembles what the letter J is called in Italian, and jota, the form that resembles Iberian Romance languages, such as Spanish, Portuguese, and Catalan. It is worth noting that the letter J in Neolatin can be pronounced like the English J, ja, or the French J, ja. So in this example, we can say videogioco or videogioco. Both pronunciations are acceptable, but the first pronunciation with ja is considered standard. Also, with the earlier example, garage, it is also possible to say it as garage, which is more similar to how it is said in French and Portuguese. So in this sense, the letters G and J are similar in pronunciation and their alternative pronunciations in Neolatin. Feel free to use the pronunciation that you prefer. Ka, ka. or kappa, kappa. Lo kilometro, the kilometer. Elle, elle, or le, le. La lacte, the milk. M, M, or me, me. La mano, the hand. N, N, or ne, ne. La notte, the night. O, o. Note, when the letter O has an accent mark or diacritic that is backward leaning, the grave accent, this produces a different sound. According to the grammar guide, the O with the grave accent is pronounced as O. For example, in General American English, the word quarter, quarter, O. The letter O without a diacritic and the letter O with the acute accent are both pronounced as a closed O. O, O. For example, the word we have here is ovo, ovo. Lo ovo means the egg. Pe, pe. Lo pane, the bread. Ku, ku, or que, que. La questione, the issue or a matter of a subject. Now, something very important to note here in regards to the letter Q. The letters together QUE are always pronounced as que, except in certain words. When the letter Q is before the vowel I or E, QU is pronounced as que or ki in only the following words. Que, which means what, or the relative pronoun that, such as in the example sentence, he needs a phone that works. Ki, which means who. Ken, which also means who, it's a synonym, and qualque, which means some, such as in qualque dia, which means someday. The only other exceptions are expressions derived from any of the words above, such as posque, jaque, desque, or desde, or quionque. Yes, quionque. This is because the que at the end of this word is part of onque, which comes from the classical Latin quam. Without going too much into detail, the words que, ki, and ken are pronounced with a simple k instead of qua, because the cognates of these words in modern Romance languages have all lost qua in some way. In all other cases, it is normally pronounced as qua. Questione, qualunque, which means any. Tranquillo, which means calm or relaxed. Cinque, which means 5. Donque, which means so or therefore. Erde, erde, or re, re. Ridere, to laugh. Esse, esse, or se, se. Lo sole, the sun. Something to note here is that when the letter S is between vowels, it can be pronounced as a voiceless consonant, s, the standard pronunciation, or optionally as a voiced consonant, z. So for example, the word casa, C-A-S-A, you could pronounce it as casa, like in Spanish, or casa, similar to how they do it in Portuguese, French, and Italian. Te, te. La televisione. The television. La universitate. The university. Ve. The letter V in Neolatin is always pronounced like V. It is very common in Spanish-speaking countries to pronounce the V like a B and say vida instead of vida, for example. In order to differentiate between the letters B and V in Spanish, it is often said B de burro to refer to the letter B and B de vaca to refer to the letter V. It is for this reason we have this example, la vaca, which means the cow. So in English we have W, and in Romance languages and in Neolatin we have double V. Here we have W, which is what Romance languages typically say, and the alternative V doble. Both forms are officially mentioned in the grammar guide. Lo whisky. The whiskey. X. Lo texto. The text. There are two ways to refer to the letter Y in Neolatin. Y, which resembles how French, Spanish, and Romanian call it, and Y, which resembles how Italian and Portuguese call it. Lo kayak. The kayak. Lastly, we have the letter Z in Neolatin, which has two standard pronunciations, zeta and zeta. The sound Z is like the end of the English word lads. So, you can say zero or you can say zero. It's totally up to you. This concludes the tutorial. Don't forget to like the video, leave one comment, and subscribe to the channel. Furthermore, you can connect with the Neolatin community through various social media platforms. Gracias per vedere.